Local and provincial levels have consistently reported of lack of human resources, resulting in sluggish development works. The centre, meanwhile, has more than enough employees that could easily be mobilized to fulfill the demands elsewhere. However, in what can be termed weak management, the federal government has decided to add employees at the centre once again. Good morning, I'm Abhyuday Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Government repeatedly criticized for keeping officials at the centre despite reports of local and provincial levels lacking human resources. Home Ministry and Finance Ministry add almost 300 more employees. Chief Minister of Bagmati Province, criticized by lawmakers of his own Nepal Communist Party, threatens of no confidence motion if his working approach does not improve. At least 8 people killed and 5 others injured in 2 shootings at shisha bars in the western German city of Hanau. Search for the shooters continues. And German club Leipzig defeats Tottenham by a solitary goal at the Champions League round of 16 first leg match. Atlanta also thrashes Valencia 4-1. Let's begin with the national political updates. The government has been repeatedly criticized for keeping officials at the centre despite repeated reports of local and provincial levels lacking human resources. Critics have opined majority of the employees at the central ministries and departments are jobless. However, the government has decided to add more posts at the centre. The Home Ministry and the Finance Ministry have added almost 300 employees, while the other ministries are preparing to do the same. We have a report.
The State Affairs Committee of the Federal Parliament had directed the government to readjust its staff at the start of the current fiscal year, citing that majority of the staff at the centre were needed more in the local and provincial levels. Following widespread criticisms for centralising its staff and the directive from the Parliamentary Committee, the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration called representatives from all the ministries and directed them to submit a report after carrying out an organisation and management survey. However, on contrary to the Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration's expectation that the ministries would reduce the number of staff needed, the number was instead inflated and additional staff were hired. Following a proposal from the Home Ministry, the Council of Ministers approved of the appointment of 19 joint secretaries and 140 additional staff at the ministry. The Finance Ministry followed the Home Ministry's footsteps and hired additional staff for the Tax and Customs Office. Currently, the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure is finalizing the appointment of around 150 new staff, and the other ministries are doing similar legworks. The scenario contradicts the government's own survey report that showed 58% of the staff at 22 central ministries were Axis. Likewise, the same report suggested that 57 of the departments under the same ministries did not need 63% of its employees. However, instead of readjusting the excess employees, the government has decided to once again add more employees in the centre. Analysts are of the opinion that there is no need to appoint new officials at the provincial level, as the staff at the centre can be readjusted to meet the human resource demand. However, the government's decision to unnecessarily add employees is bound to add more burden on the state coffers. The state's administrative expenses have been increasing each year, taking up a major chunk of the national budget, which otherwise could have been used for development works. Meanwhile, the provincial and local levels have not been able to utilize their own budget due to lack of human resources. Critics have opined the centre's failure to genuinely adjust employees will backfire in the near future.
Even before completing the 2-year time period by the Bagmati province government, Chief Minister of the province, Dormani Podel, has been criticized and encircled by lawmakers of his own Nepal Communist Party. Despite protests and displeasure against Chief Minister Podel within his party, he was successful in deciding the name and capital of the province. Lawmakers of his own party and officials of the province committee, among others, are furious with Chief Minister Podel for not abiding by the directives of the party's province committee and following the directions of the centre. He has also been criticized for making Rameshwar Phuyal a minister by following the center's order and going against the province committee's interest. Paudel is also criticized for taking sides of lawmakers of his own party. Paudel has also been criticized by the lawmakers of his own party for not being able to provide works for the parliament during the province government's tenure of almost 2 years. However, Paudel says he is not concerned with the allegations and claims he has been working efficiently. Citing that Chief Minister Paudel has been single-handedly expanding the cabinet and appointing government officials, leaders of his party have even threatened to push for a no-confidence motion if his working approach does not change. Paudel, who had received support from opposition Nepali Congress while deciding on the name and capital of the province, is now facing difficulty in saving his post due to criticisms from his own party members. The 110-member Bagmati Province Assembly has 80 lawmakers from the Nepal Communist Party, among which the party chairman Pushpakamal Dahal faction and leader Madhav Kumar Nepal faction are furious with Chief Minister Paudel. Only 34 lawmakers who are of the Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli faction are in favor of Paudel. If the 24 lawmakers of the Nepal faction and the 22 lawmakers of the Dahal faction stand up against Chief Minister Paudel, his post will be at risk. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. Welcome back. Chairman and Managing Director of Kantipur Publications, Kailash Siroia, has stated diplomatic missions of friendly countries in Nepal have been openly interfering in the press freedom of the country. Speaking at a program organized on the occasion of the 27th anniversary of Kantipur Publications yesterday, Chairman Siroia, indicating at India and China, stated that the neighboring countries were attacking the press freedom of Nepal. Chairman Siroia said, interference on press freedom is a momentary barrier which has to be faced while moving ahead.
हामीले मुलुक भित्रबाट मात्र होइन बेला बखत मित्र राष्ट्रका नियोगहरुबाट समेत धम्की र चेतावनीको सामना लगातार गरिराख्नु नै परेको छ। हिजोको घटना यहाँहरुले थाहा पाइहाल्नु भयो होला। हामीलाई यस्ता सबै खाले बाधा व्यवधान र चुनौतीहरु चिर्दै अघि बढ्ने बानी नै परिसकेको छ। अझ एकदम अभ्यस्तै भइसकेका छौं भनौं, किनभने केही वर्ष अगाडि पनि तपाईहरुलाई थाहा होला एउटा कुनै मित्र राष्ट्रका राजदूतले हाम्रा कागज रोकेर हामीलाई दुख दिनु भएको थियो। उहाँहरुको भनाइ के थियो, हाम्रो पक्षमा समाचारले कागज छोड्छौं। हामी भन्थ्यौं कागज ल्याउने हाम्रो युएनले दिएको इन्टरनेशनल राइट हो, हाम्रो कागज ल्याऊ, तिम्रो पक्षमा लेख्ने नलेख्ने तिमीहरुका गतिविधिमा डिपेन्ड गर्छ। आखिर लास्टमा हामीले हाम्रै कन्डिसनमा कागज छोडाएर बस्यौं र आज पनि यस्तै केही गतिहरु आइराछन्।
Chairman Siroia also urged media persons not to be intimidated by anyone while working as a professional journalist. Various journalists and employees of Kantipur Publications were awarded prizes at yesterday's event for their excellent work. And it's time now for the international update. At least 8 people are dead following 2 shootings at shisha bars in the western German city of Hanau. At least 5 people were also injured after gunmen opened fire at about 10 p.m. local time. Police informed that they are searching for the suspects who fled the scene and are currently at large. According to local reports, the first shooting was at a bar in the city center, while the second was in Hanau's Kesselstadt neighborhood. Police officers and helicopters are patrolling both areas. An unknown number of gunmen killed 3 people at the first shisha bar before driving to the second and shooting dead another 5 victims. A police statement said the motive for the attack is unclear. We have more news coming up, but right now it's time for another short break. Welcome back. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the locals of Ramechhap how easy has it been to receive service after the formation of the local governments. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice. सदरमुकामसम्म पुग्नु पर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब भनेको बेलामा गाडी नपाउने त्यस्तो समस्या हुन्थ्यो। बाटो बर्खा मासमा चाहिँ अब गाडीहरु यहाँसम्म नआइपुग्दाखेरि एकदम गाह्रो भएको थियो, तर अहिले चाहिँ स्थानीय सरकार आइसकेपछि चाहिँ जस लिनुपर्ने सेवा सुविधाहरु चाहिँ राम्रोसँग लिन पाइराखेका छौं।
स्थानीय सरकार जनताको संविधान आयो भनेर हामीले धेरै खुसी भएर अगाडि बढेका थियौं। हामीलाई खुसी लागेको थियो। तर त्यो खुसीमा हामी अहिले निराश छौँ।
दलित बस्तीमा अहिले पानीको साह्रै अशोक छ, त्यो हेरिदिनु भएको छैन।
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question. What's your take on the government's decision to appoint new officials instead of adjusting existing ones? Your options are A, prioritizing the center, B, devaluation of federalism, and C, for better work execution. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And it's time now for the sports news.
Sports news.
German club Leipzig defeated Tottenham Hotspur 1-0 in the round of 16 first leg match of the Champions League last night. In the match played at Tottenham's home ground, both the sides produced a fair number of chances in the first half, however failed to convert. Leipzig opened the scoring in the 58th minute through a penalty by Timo Werner. Tottenham's performance suffered due to the absence of main strikers Harry Kane and Son Heung-min. In another match under the Champions League, Atlanta thumped Valencia 4-1. Hans Hatper opened Atlanta's account in the 16th minute. Josic Ilicic scored in the 42nd minute to double Atlanta's lead. Remo Foyla scored in the 57th minute to give Atlanta a commanding 3-0 lead. Likewise, Hatper scored his personal second goal of the match in the 62nd minute, giving Atlanta its fourth goal. Denis Cheryshev scored a consolation goal minutes later, and Atlanta won the match 4-1. The second leg match is scheduled for 10th of March. Manchester City returned to winning ways, blanking West Ham United 2-0 at the English Premier League last night. In the match played at Manchester City's home ground Etihad Stadium, a goal in each half settled the one-sided contest. Despite numerous chances City created through intricate passing and crosses into the D-box, the breakthrough finally came as Kevin De Bruyne's cross was converted into a goal by Rodrigo Hernandez in the 30th minute to give City a 1-0 lead. The second half was dominated by City, and De Bruyne doubled Manchester City's lead by drilling home his 8th goal of the season in the 62nd minute to seal Manchester City's 2-0 win over West Ham. After last night's win, Manchester City has secured 51 points from 25 matches and remains in the second spot of the league table, 22 points behind leaders Liverpool. Meanwhile, West Ham is in the relegation zone in the 18th position with 24 points. With the match against third-placed Leicester City to come on Saturday, City's win over West Ham has opened up a vital 4-point gap between the two teams. Brendan Rodgers' side represents a stiff test for City ahead of the Champions League round of 16 first leg match with Real Madrid 4 days later. When an international sports event is held in Nepal, its review is rarely carried out. An example of this is the recently held 13th South Asian Games hosted by Nepal from 1st to 10th of December last year. Even after a lapse of 2.5 months since the event ended, there are no sign of the National Sports Council of preparing a review of the 13th South Asian Games. We have a report.
At the 13th South Asian Games held in Kathmandu, Pokhara and Janakpur, Nepal bagged a total of 206 medals, including 51 gold medals, which was the country's biggest success in the sports sector so far. It is estimated that Nepal spent more than 3 billion rupees hosting the mega sports event. Right after the 13th South Asian Games ended, Nepal Sports Council Vice President Pitambar Timalsina stated that a review on the sports event would be carried out and a financial report would also be presented. However, questions have started to rise as the National Sports Council has not come up with a review on the sports event as assured by the Council's Vice President Timalsina even after 70 days since the event ended.
35 दिन भन्ने छैन हैन समीक्षा बैठक भएपछि दुई चारवटा कुरा हामीले ध्यान दिनुपर्छ कि एक पाको मात्र एनालाइसिस गर्नु हुँदैन र गेम सकिसकेपछि पटक पटक बैठक बस्नु पनि राम्रो हुँदैन हैन हामीले आंशिक कुनैको पनि कुराको आंशिक समीक्षा गर्यौं भने हामी कहीँ पनि पुग्दैन हामीले पूर्ण समीक्षा गर्नुपर्छ.
The review not only presents the financial aspect of the sports event but also evaluates the performance of the players. All the officials who were given responsibilities at the event are supposed to turn in their reports. However, Head of the organizing committee and sports minister Jagat Bahadur Vishwakarma and the leadership of the National Sports Council have not paid any attention in bringing out a review on the sports event.
हामीले पटक पटक पहिले पनि भनेका थियौं 35 दिनभित्र हामी चाहिँ हाम्रा समीक्षागत बैठकहरू बसिकन प्रतिवेदनहरू सार्वजनिक गर्छौं 90 दिनभित्र हाम्रा आर्थिकका दायित्व वहन गरेका शीर्षकहरूको प्रतिवेदन चाहिँ विथ रिपोर्ट सहित फर्चोटको रिपोर्ट सहित पेश गर्छौं भनेर हामीले भनेका थियौं तर आज विडम्बना 70 दिन पूरा भयो हामी अलि व्यस्त भइरहेको त्यसको नैतिक जिम्मा म उपाध्यक्षको हैसियतले लिनुपर्छ माननीय मन्त्रीज्यू पनि अत्यन्तै व्यस्त सदस्य सचिवज्यू पनि व्यस्त उपाध्यक्ष पनि व्यस्त अब के कुराले हो भन्न त म त्यतातिर जान चाहन्न.
It's not only the recently held 13th South Asian Games, but reviews have not been made on the 12th South Asian Games held in India or the Asian Games held in Indonesia last year. This clearly depicts there is no transparency in the sports activities in Nepal.
And it's time now for our special segment, Glorious History.
On 19th of February 1951, the then political parties in Nepal were successful in abolishing the 104-year-long autocratic Rana regime and establishing a democratic government. The development led to the promulgation of a new constitution in the country when power shifted back to the monarchy of late King Tribhuvan. The control of the government of Nepal laid in the hands of Rana family from the year 1846 to 1951. The founder of Rana dynasty was Jung Bahadur Rana, who seized power and made himself permanent prime minister. Jung Bahadur Rana belonged to Kumar family, which was then considered a dignified family of Kshatriya status. The 19th of February or 7th of Fagun, as per the Nepalese calendar, is observed amid various programs in Nepal every year to commemorate the abolishment of Rana oligarchy in the country.
And now, before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Government repeatedly criticized for keeping officials at the center despite reports of local and provincial levels lacking human resources. Home Ministry and Finance Ministry add almost 300 more employees. Chief Minister of Bagmati Province, criticized by lawmakers of his own Nepal Communist Party, threatens of no confidence motion if his working approach does not improve. At least 8 people killed and 5 others injured in 2 shootings at shisha bars in the western German city of Hanau. Search for the shooters continues. And German club Leipzig defeats Tottenham by a solitary goal at the Champions League's round of 16 first leg match. Atlanta also thrashes Valencia 4-1. And that's all for the moment. Keep watching Kantipur Television HD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.